Hey guys, Thomas the Silly Jr. here, aka Mustached Tom, here to review the movie Blockers. So, I can't remember the last comedy movie that actually made me laugh, but I saw the commercials for this, had John Cena, which I saw actually recently in the Ferdinand movie, so I was like, yeah, I'll check out this movie as well. Um, I'll see what the deal is here. So he plays a character named Mitchell. The guy on the other end is, I believe his name is Ike Barinholtz, if that name is correct. I hope I pronounced that right. He plays Hunter, and the lady in the middle is Lisa Mann, who plays Lisa, and their three children, respectively, underneath them in the poster. So the movie starts off with Mitchell and the two other adults meeting up as their kids meet up for the very first time, and the little girls instantly become friends at that point in juncture. So the three adults figure might as well stick together and be quote unquote best friends. We cut to the time ahead in the current time, um, where the mother, in the middle, as I mentioned, is getting ready with her daughter. So Lisa's getting ready with what's the daughter's name? Julie, the one in the middle there. Kayla is John Cena's child, and then Sam is the daughter of Hunter. So there we go. Um, anyways, um, the main daughter, the one in the middle, wants to have a sex time with Austin, her current boyfriend, at the very beginning of the movie. Um, and Kayla mentions that she knows this other random guy that she wants to get with. And then Sam mentions Chad. But shortly after looking at Chad, she looks at some other girl. I don't remember what her name is, only that every time that Sam looks at this other girl, it like does this music thing, and then she looks at this girl because she's a lesbian, and it's like, oh, she's looking at her like, and the character that she's looking at her, that character, and specifically her entire deal is just every time she turns and looks at her, it's the music, and then she just looks. There's nothing more to her character, just that. Because it's a comedy, you can't build much character outside of the characters we already have, which isn't a lot. Anyway, so um, and the what's her name? Hunter's daughter Sam also has a situation where the dad is apart from them actually, but the her replacement dad is talking to her about having this shared experience, which gets her into the motion of wanting to join this little sex pact of theirs that they decide to make. So the parents make their little scenes as their daughters come and get ready for prom. But Julie, the main daughter, leaves her computer on, which allows the parents to eventually get up there and read what they are going to plan to do. Meanwhile, Hunter returns to his daughter after the divorce or whatever, how much time it was. He returns in the slow-mo to her. So there's that, and then that awkward conversation stuff happens as well. So they make things a bit uncomfortable as John Cena, I'll just call him that again, meets the daughter's boyfriend Connor, um, and you know how gets overprotective and whatnot. Meanwhile, Hunter makes fun of the current boyfriend, Frank. And then Brenda, his current ex-wife, is, meeting up with him as well. So his daughter specifically is like, I don't want you in my life, but he's like, yeah, come on. Anyways, the main mother, Lisa, brings up the acceptance letter of her daughter going to college, a college far from her. But the main daughter plays it off, and so on and so forth. Meanwhile, they finally get to see that they are texting about the sex pact, and then they decide that they're gonna cock block, as the poster implies, the daughters from having the sex. But out of the three of them, Hunter is actually wanting his daughter to do what she wants to do and leave the other parents behind. So we have this slightly interesting dichotomy between the three parents at the very least. So he's trying to prevent them from leaving as they are desperately trying to get into the car, and then they're pushing out each other and stuff like that. But anyways, so they eventually get to the car, and they eventually start driving up. And, along the ride, they're, like, talking about their daughters, and at some point in the movie, Hunter mentions that he knows that his daughter is into other girls, even though she never acknowledged it or whatever. And Lisa kind of reveals throughout the movie, like, the terrible events that happened in her life, which is kind of like her motivator, is like, oh, I've been through this terrible stuff, so I'm going to keep persisting after this. So that's kind of her deal, while John Cena's deal is, I'm just the overprotective father that has to be there and protect the daughter. So anyways, Sam leaves them astray. We cut to the prom, and jeez, I keep forgetting their names. I had to pull up the little cast thing here. Julie, there we go, dances with Austin, her boyfriend, and the other girls split up with their respectable dates or whatever. So again, we have more of that Lisa talking about, like, because they go to, I believe, one of the parents' houses to get, like, more info about where they're located. And they have this debate about, when boys have or when guys go into sex for the first time, it's something that's celebrated, versus when a girl is having sex for the first time, it's something that's like, oh no, don't do it. They try to bring it up, and it's probably the most interesting aspect of the movie, outside of everything else, that the gags that don't work. The more, serious moments do tend to stick out a little bit more in this movie. I wish it wasn't a comedy, but more of a heartwarming, like, sort of, like, take it a little bit more seriously with, maybe, like, tone down the comedy a few notches here, because there's obviously moments where they try to obviously make it a comedy, but it just doesn't work when they force it. Like this one scene where they're in the limo and they're driving away super fast, and then everyone's throwing up. It's like forced throw up gag. It's super old. It just doesn't work. It's just disgusting. And even if that's the point, it's just not even funny. Stuff like that. It just doesn't work anymore. So anyways, so they get the info, they steal it, they find out stuff about the the ones that the daughters are dating, and they find out this potentially bad stuff is, could be going on. But they once they get to this party where they are, apparently they get stopped by two of these other guys. Um, but they do a little thing, a bit of a competition, or they start to set up one anyways. Um, Meanwhile, inside, geez, Julie, the daughter, is making out with Austin. Um, Sam is making out with Chad to like see if like she's even into guys, because she's like doubting herself for whatever reason. I forgot what the setup with that was. Like I think she got like an advice from the other lesbian. Like she was like, "Oh, you don't know until you try." Like that was the only thing she said, which made Sam like go for it, I guess. Meanwhile, the other daughter, Kayla, the John Cena's daughter, um, goes to the other guy that she's with, the random guy, kind of the three. Meanwhile, the parents give chase, as I mentioned, the limo scene, and this random Vin Diesel mention, for whatever reason, like they mentioned the Fast and the Furious movies, um, and how their car flips over eventually. But this causes the main mother, to like freak out some more, and she then receives some text from Julie that says, and then they finally call, and then she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go to the furthest college just to get away from you," and that disappoints the mom. And then she talks to John Cena. And she's all like, "Oh, I was never your friend," and stuff like that. It's a weird moment, indeed, because there's that jump cut, and there's just like this implied like whatever going on. I don't know. And while those two are bickering, um, Hunter finally breaks out of by how they broke up. I didn't even write the notes because it wasn't even that interesting. Like he kept just shouting stuff, and it was like hard to keep up with what he was saying. So it just kind of like they paced it so poorly, and he just went through it so quickly. I didn't catch any of it. It just didn't catch my attention. So I don't know what the big breakup point up was exactly. So that's on me, I guess. Anyways, after their little conversation, their car blows up randomly. Um, so they decide to get a ride, and then they sneak into this other house um, that they've snuck into prior to get the information the first time, and they caught these two other parents, Austin's parents, I believe they were, having sex, and then they're trying to do this like play thing where like they're looking for each other in the dark. And they get roped in. The two males there, Hunter and John Cena there, get mixed in the sex play that ends up happening. But the mother goes in, gets the key for herself, and then they get out. So Austin reels the main daughter, and I keep forgetting her name. Jeez, Julie. And what? Meanwhile, John Cena's like busting in several rooms looking for her daughter, for his daughter. Ugh, keep getting that, doing that. Meanwhile, Sam's quote unquote boyfriend, the fedora guy, I'll just call him that because I honestly didn't catch his name at all, is like trying to make out with the girl, Sam, and then she's like, "Oh, I don't want to do it," and then she's like, "Okay." Meanwhile, Kayla talks to the other guy about like, "Oh, I don't want sex necessarily, but you can go down on me, even though I think that also counts as sex. I'm pretty sure." Anyway, regardless of whatever she took that as, there's that. Meanwhile, the main mother, sneaks away because she got into the room before her daughter got in there. She manages to fully sneak out completely unrecognized, even after getting like shocked temporarily. Um, Meanwhile, Hunter's like looking for Chad because like he saw Chad or her kiss Chad, and he that made him upset finally because he knew again he didn't want like his daughter doing the wrong thing by him. So he goes after. So they finally meet up with each other. That being Hunter and his daughter Sam. She comes forth, and he kind of neglects to say that he knew, but he kind of just lets it settle in that the daughter finally admitted it, more or less. And then he mentions that she should mention that to her friends because she never did, apparently. So she does eventually. Anyways, so Hunter leaves as well, and John Cena has a talk that settles that little debt down. The girls meet back up afterwards. They see Chad singing. So Sam, as they are celebrating their little party now that they're left to their devices, admits to the other two that she's a lesbian, and then she sees the girl that she was fascinated with the music playing and the looks, and then she finally gets up to her, and then they kiss each other. And then it skips 3 months pass, and it does appear that the three girls are now going out to some sort of road trip, going out to college. That is what is implied. But they do get these texts saying that there's something going on. They get tricked into the next like little sex thing that's like not really gonna happen because the daughters are like they figured that the mother would get the text and then kind of play them for that. And then for a little last minute bit, the John Cena gets caught by his own daughter having the naked sex with the mother, and then the movie ends. Blockers. So the movie, it kind of derails, focusing a bit too much on the comedy aspect and kind of failing at most of the jokes. I feel most of them don't land. Most of the jokes are kind of irrelevant at this point. I mean, even the Fast and the Furious mention is just a mention. It's not really a joke necessarily. Stuff like that doesn't work. The vomit stuff doesn't work. The character setup is pretty okay, but it's pretty basic as well. And again, they could have replaced a lot of that attempt at comedy for more heartfelt moments. And I think that the movie could have been a bit more impactful if it followed that route. But instead, it was like, oh, we have this funny title, Blockers, and it's all about how gotta stop the daughter, so we have to make it a comedy. I think this could have been one of those misleading kind of movies, and I think it actually would have worked out better for it, not worse. So at the end of the day, I'm gonna give this movie a 4 out of 10. Not necessarily a strong movie by any right. It kind of fails at the main thing it's supposed to be, which is a comedy, but does have some lighthearted moments here and there, but it's not strong enough to hold the movie together. So that is my review of Blockers, and if you did enjoy this review, then please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Also make sure to check out that link in the description. I would have you over to my Patreon page, and any donations are greatly appreciated. And until next time, everyone, bye-bye.